Hey friends, Junior Staggs with Auctioneer University, and I can't tell you how excited I am to be one of the sponsors of a brand new show that's going to be produced by my friends at Brewer Street Mafia and Kell Media. It's called SportsCast with Jeremy Buckelew. It'll be recorded live every Sunday night at 7:30. So if you're into sports, I like Alabama football. Maybe you're a Tennessee fan. Maybe you're into one of those foreign sports like soccer or cricket or rugby. I'm sure he'll cover it all, from local sports to professional sports and everything in between, every Sunday night, 7:30. While you're at it, go over there and give him a like. And if you're thinking about becoming an auctioneer, check out our website, Auctioneer U. That's auctioneer, the letter U.com.
In a world that moves way too fast, there's one place that feels like home. Tater's Place in Paris, Tennessee, where the sizzle of a smash burger meets the sound of laughter, and every plate tells a story. Bring the family, make memories, and taste the love in every bite. Live music, real people, and unforgettable food. That's Tater's Place, 3615 Highway 79 North. Find the flavor you've been missing at Tater's Place. Come and feel what you've been hungry for.
Are you looking for a fence that gives you peace of mind? At All Star Fence Company, we don't just build fences, we build confidence. Whether it's keeping your family safe, protecting your property, or simply adding curb appeal, All Star delivers unmatched quality, dependable service, and lasting results. Locally owned and trusted across West Tennessee, Kentucky, and beyond, we're the name homeowners count on for reliability and strength since 1971. All-Star Fence Company, your first line of defense and your best choice for peace of mind. Visit allstarfenceandsupply.com today.
And good evening. Happy Sunday to you. Welcome to another episode of SportsCast. I am your host, Jeremy Buckelew. Glad to be here with you live from the Brewer Street Mafia studios. I got a great show here for you tonight. I was going to talk a little bit Henry County football past and not Henry County football. We'll talk Henry County football past and present, but just Henry County sports in general tonight. But first, I do want to say thank you to our sponsors for bringing you SportsCast each and every week. Thanks to Junior Staggs and AuctioneerU.com. If you ever want to learn how to be an auctioneer, you can check out AuctioneerU.com. Junior will help you get set up for that and the licensing you need and just the classes you would need to learn that trade, and no one better than Junior Staggs to learn it from. So go on over to auctioneeru.com and get signed up for that. Also want to say thanks to Taters out on the Lake Highway restaurant and bike shop. And so if you have a motorcycle and need it worked on, send it out there to Taters and they can get you fixed up. And while you're waiting on your bike, grab a bite to eat in the restaurant. It's one of my favorite places to go. And we always enjoy the appetizers they have and a good smash burger and some of the best fries in town, if you ask me. So that's Taters out on the Lake Highway. Thanks to them. And then also to All-Star Fence and Jeff Archie and his crew out at All-Star Fence. If there is anything you need fence related, Jeff can help you and get you fixed up out there. And so give him a call and he can get you situated for what you need, everything fencing. And so All-Star Fence, appreciate them. I do want to say thank you also to Patriot Plumbing, Shelter Insurance. Got some new sponsors coming on in July, Eaton Construction and Tennessee Real Estate. So we're excited about that and thank them for their support here of SportsCast with Jeremy Buckelew each and every week here on Facebook. And appreciate you joining us as well tonight. As I said, going to talk a little bit of Henry County sports. Excited about tonight's show. Got a guy here I've known for a while, and not a new role for him, but I got Steve Summers, the athletic director for Henry County High School. I've always known him as Coach Summers, and so Coach is one of those titles that once you get it, it never goes away, and so you'll always be Coach Summers to me.
And that suits me just fine. I appreciate it.
Coach, glad to have you on here with us. Of course, we start every show with the best thing you've seen this week, and so what's the best thing you've seen this week?
Well, without a doubt, the best thing that I saw was last night was a nice steak on my plate and a baked potato. It was cooked rare, and it was delicious. It was down in Huntsville, Alabama, at a seafood and steak place down there. We went down and saw the Space Center and spent the day.
Sounds like a good little family trip on a Saturday.
It was. The weather was good. It didn't rain. It didn't lighten. Well, it did a little bit, but we got out of that before we got caught.
That's always a good thing to get out of it. For mine, Of course, me and Griffin Wood broadcast Henry County football, and about to get underway here in about 7 weeks for that. But this week, Griffin was on, took a family vacation to Alaska, and while he was there, he got engaged. And so congratulations to Griffin and Hunter. Hopefully, I'll get an invitation to the wedding. We'll see. But
I'm sure you will.
I hope I do anyway. But the best thing I've seen this week was my buddy Griffin Wood getting engaged to Hunter. And congratulations to them. Excited for them. And again, Griffin and I will have Henry County football coming up.
They didn't break any windows while
I was waiting to see if that came up. The excitement, I don't think so. Can you put that picture back up, Kevin, just real quick? I mean, there's plenty. They look safe, and so
there was one window open up there at the top. I was looking at the windows. It's all good, Griffin. Don't sweat it.
And so that's another story for another day. When I have Griffin on the show, we'll talk about that. But Coach, of course, you grew up here, and so I think a lot of folks know you. But just in case there's some out there that don't, just tell us a little bit about Steve Summers and your upbringing, and who are you?
Well, yes, I grew up here. We moved here, a family, when I was, I guess, 4 years old. Lived on Dunlap Street, first house. Second house we lived in was on Walnut Street. Then we moved to Whitehall Circle, then to Green Valley about the time I was leaving to go to Troy. But don't remember a whole lot about Dunlap other than riding a big wheel up and down a real bumpy sidewalk. Right. That's about it. But when we moved to Walnut, the neighborhood was just full of kids our age. Across the street were the Smiths. There was 7 of them. Up the street was the Hosfords and the Hudgens, and then the Harrisons moved to town. And so it was just there were kids our age everywhere. And we played baseball. We played football at Atkins Porter in the front yard. We played baseball at Porter's Field, which a lot of people probably don't know where Porter's Field is, but it's the former governor's mansion, and there's a field behind it. Now it's all grown up, but if you hit it over the driveway, it was a home run. If you hit it in the garden of the other person, it was an out because he'd get after us because we going over there and tearing his garden up. Right. So, but we had a good time growing up. We rode our bikes everywhere we went. We walked to school. We just had a good time. We played sports all the time.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't want to say that's a lost art these days for kids, but I grew up same way in the neighborhood I grew up out on the airport highway right there at Peaceful Meadow Lane. It was me and my brother, and then the Rosses and the Cowans and the Lambs, and we would, during football season, we had football going all the time. During baseball season, the Rosses had a vacant lot next to their house. And so it was our football field, it was our baseball field, because we could cut it to a regulation-sized Little League field.
Oh, there wasn't nothing regulation about ours. We were playing around stumps and everything.
The third tree stump is second base kind of deal. But, great neighborhoods to grow up in like that because, like you said, it just, all the kids, it fosters the community and just nothing like a good backyard game of baseball or football or whatever.
It was a blast, and and I've left out some people in that neighborhood. The McSwains, there were several, but we had a really good time growing up as a child and walking back and forth to school. Whether we were walking to school at Atkins Porter, which was right up the street, or if we walked to school at Grove. Well, we walked or rode bikes. I used to ride my bike to school too. And
cross veterans.
Yes.
I guess you had to if you were living over on.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Across whatever. It didn't matter.
Didn't matter. Okay.
Through people's yards, kind of. But anyway, but it was, it was a great time to grow up, and I was playing some kind of sport. Regardless, like you said, it didn't matter. We even tried to learn how to play golf at an early age, but I think somebody got hit in the head with a club, so that kind of nixed that for a while. I think it was my brother. But anyway, we were playing sports growing up regardless and going to sports. And I can remember going to games, a football game at Barton Field when Rusty Culley and Wendell Coleman were playing. And I guess that was in 1978, 77, 78. And I remember being at those games and rolling down the hill. Wasn't watching a lot of the games, but watched enough of it to start falling in love with Henry County football. And I remember going to basketball game, an away basketball game. We were playing in the playoffs in Clarksville, and I don't remember who we were playing or what year it was, but I can remember walking into that gym with my dad. My dad even said, he goes, "My goodness, everybody in Paris must be here." I mean, it was just a huge crowd, and those two games stuck out in my mind of as a little boy. I probably didn't realize it then, but looking back at it, I mean, it was really, really cool to go to and to enjoy.
So you were a standout quarterback at Henry County. I know you probably wouldn't. You don't like to brag on yourself, I know, but I know enough about Henry County sports to know that you were a standout quarterback at Henry County. You probably set more than one record, but you still hold, or at least are tied with one record right now, correct?
Correct.
Tell us about that record that you have.
It was senior night. We were playing Covington, and I threw 4 touchdown passes in one game.
Okay.
And that record still stands. It's tied, I think, with Will Parrish, I know, and I think Caden Marshall is the other one that's tied. It maybe Ryan Dameron, I'm not sure. But anyway, yes, that record still stands. But things
I was going to say football was a little bit different probably for Henry County High School back in the 80s than it was the style of play when Ryan and Will were playing.
If you had a projector, which I do, I have a projector that will play this. Can anybody tell me what millimeter film this is?
Your guess is as good as mine. I'm
16.
Sure you know. Is that right? Okay.
Yeah, it's 16. If you had a projector, you'd see how different it is.
Yeah.
Our wide receivers were still down in 3-point stance. That's no lie. And the reason they were is because that's the way they did it at Oklahoma.
Okay.
And they're going to run a 40-yard dash. They got down to 3-point stance. We were in a 3-point stance then. But, yeah, it changed a lot. We weren't in the shotgun, and I think that night we attempted 7 passes, and that was it. And but we had a really good team and a lot of good players around me, and they probably made some really good catches. So it was but it's cool, I guess, that the record's still standing somehow. But anyway, maybe it'll get broken this year.
And I hope so. But no offense to you, but it'll be great to see. But you also said that you didn't even play that whole game. Right?
No, we got taken out half. It was pretty
decisive.
It was pretty good first half. Put it that way.
And then I was going to ask you because John Davidson was on here last week with the Quarterback Club and was telling fun stories. But you had mentioned that when you and your dad went to Clarksville and walked in, and just the community support. That has always been kind of a staple of Henry County athletics, and John was telling us that you were on that team that when the field house caught on fire.
I was.
And lost everything.
I was.
And was able to play the next night.
We did.
What do you remember about it?
I remember quite a bit about it. I have a screensaver on my computer that has a picture of that field house in flames. It was on the front page of the paper. But I got a call, I don't know, at 3:45 in the morning. The field house was on fire and that they couldn't put it out. And a friend of mine, Ron Harrison, and Ron came by and got me when we went up there, and we watched it burn to the ground. And, we were supposed to play that night. That was, 15 hours before kickoff. And so we didn't play, but people in the community, they got jets. They flew somewhere and got equipment from Knoxville. They flew all over the place. UT Martin sent us some practice jerseys, or South Carolina sent us some practice jerseys that we used for game jerseys up until homecoming. It was just tremendous, the amount of support and effort that was put in so that we could go play football the next night. And somehow we did. Yeah. And we went and played Waverly on Saturday night and won in the last seconds. So nice. It was kind of a start to that. But we dressed in a semi-tractor trailer the whole year. Our halftime meetings and team meetings were in the band room. It was quite the deal. But wow, we just enjoyed playing.
Sure.
And but the support from the whole community was just crazy.
And we're going to come back to your playing career and whatnot, but as the athletic director, as going from coach, because you coached for a little while, and then took over as athletic director when Mr. Poteet retired. And I assume in both of those roles, you continue to see just how much people poured into not just football, but everything Henry County.
They do. And, the thing about it, when I talk to people about sports from other counties, other communities, and they talk about Henry County, the thing they talk about is our support, the support that we have for all of our teams. And, you start thinking about that, and you go, well, what are they really talking about? And they're talking about the people that show up at the games. And like at basketball and football and softball, any of them, we've always had good support, whether it was a home game or an away game, of having people at the games. I can remember, I talked about those two as a kid that I went and watched, and I can remember in high school, I think I was either a freshman or a sophomore, and we were playing, I think it was Northeast in basketball, and we were down 19 points for 4 minutes and 37 seconds. Now, how I can remember 4 minutes and 37 seconds, I don't know, but that's what I remember. And we wound up coming back, and that was the first time that I felt a crowd. I wasn't playing.
Sure.
I was just in the student section. And but I could feel the crowd influencing that game, and it was just electric. I mean, it was just a big deal to have that gym full and have people in there.
Sure. So go back your playing days at Henry County. Y'all were, again, John was on last week, talked about it because you talk about the historian of Henry County athletics. I don't know if there's anybody better than John Davidson, but was saying that your squad, was it White House that
White's Creek
that put y'all out, but that like y'all potentially were a state championship team that year, just ran into some trouble at White's Creek. And
White's Creek beat us. Yeah, well. That's true. I appreciate you bringing that up, Jeremy. 40 years ago, dig into the wounds. No, we had a really close bunch, and we, like I said, most of those people I grew up running around streets with playing, and it was we enjoyed playing, and that was Coach Counts' second year as the head coach, and we had a really good team. Several of us went on to play college football, and so it was just a good team.
Sure,
it was it really was. So It was just a lot of fun and a lot of good memories, that's for sure.
Well, I was fixing to add, so do you have like a favorite memory from your playing days here? Like what first comes to mind?
First comes to mind was the first round of the playoffs. And I can remember talking about the crowd again. Mm-hmm. I can remember going out in that first round of the playoffs and Coach Counts telling us before we went out, he said, boys, they coming out of the woodwork tonight. And I didn't really know what he was talking about. But when we walked out to go to that field, that place was packed. Mm-hmm. And
that was at Henry County?
Yes.
Okay.
And that was, they had the field painted up with the state of Tennessee in it. The maintenance crew had done that. I mean, it was just really cool. That moment sticks out. And you got a number 24 jersey hanging over there, and that's another memory that stands out. I remember Ron Harrison wore number 24, and I can remember in a JV football game him jumping up and tipping a ball, and just as he tipped it, lightning struck behind it.
Oh, wow.
And that picture stuck in my mind a lot now. Now, if I was the AD and that happened, of course, we'd stop the game 30 minutes before that.
Sure.
We'd have been off the field.
Sure.
We would have been playing. But saw that jersey. Every time I see that number, I think of that.
Yeah.
So, but there's a lot of good memories, and we still sit around and talk about them every now and then.
Talking about because Griffin has a very similar story. Whenever I talk to him, and I think I told it last week, but his is a same thing, playoff game that he remembers when after warm-ups, you go back to the field house, get your last kind of instructions. And then those doors open and you walk out, and he will tell you that, I don't even remember what game it was. I'm sure, I think it was a Memphis school we were playing, but it was one of the first times that they had passed out the towels back in 2013. And he said he walked out, and when those doors open, of course, full house, and we've talked about this at work and with some buddies of mine, but I can remember the days that if you weren't at Patriot Stadium by 6:30 for a 7 o'clock kickoff, or maybe even earlier, like probably 6:20, 6:15, you weren't going to have a place to sit. And Griffin will tell that story about how those doors opened and that crowd just erupted for these high school kids fixing to go to battle on a football field, waving the towels. And it just, even now, I wasn't even there.
Nope.
I mean, I was there, but
I'm getting them too.
It get chill bumps just thinking about it. And that to this day, that's one of his favorite memories, and it'll make the hair on his skin stand up still. Just the thought of that crowd.
It is, and the other one was the 2 state championship games when we played in Cookeville.
Yeah.
I mean, people still talk to me about the crowd that we brought to those games both years, and so the support's great. And we need to get that stadium, all of our stadiums, full again, and because the kids love that, and it's for them.
Right.
I mean, and they feed off of that, and it means a lot to them.
Absolutely. So you play here at Henry County, graduate, and move on to Troy State. At the time, it was called Troy State. I think it's just Troy now, right? Just
Troy University.
Troy University down in, it's in southern Alabama, because I know I'll be driving through it this week, as a matter of fact. But
are you going down there to the rattlesnake roundup? Is that what you're doing?
Negative. We are going to the beach. And that is our path to the beach. And I'll never forget driving by the first time. Of course, they got the big sign out front, Troy University. I was like, oh, okay, I've heard of this place. This is where it is. And so Steve Summers' alma mater is what it will forever be known to me now as when I drive through there. But went on to play at Troy State. And I think we got a picture of you back in your playing days. There you are. We talked. You don't see very many quarterbacks wearing number 22.
No, you don't.
How did you get stuck with number? Or did you select number 22? How'd you get lucky? Okay.
I picked it.
Tell that story.
I picked it. I was several numbers at Troy, but not by choice. Okay. But the first 3 years, I don't know. I was 9. I was 14. I don't know what other number I was. But then, going into my senior year, I wanted number 22.
Okay.
And the reason why is that was kind of a family number. It's what my dad wore in high school, and my dad wore when he was in the Philippines playing Air Force baseball.
Okay.
So I kind of wanted that number, so I picked it. And that was my senior year.
We kind of joked about it last week. We didn't know if you were you could have played quarterback, you could have been the fullback if you needed to be.
I couldn't have been the fullback at Troy. I promise you that. No, they took a beating.
Well, talk about your time there, because.
Well, I was very fortunate to be able to go there and play. And the biggest reason was they ran the wishbone offense, and that's what we ran in high school. And I wound up getting to go there, and didn't get to play the first year, didn't get to dress out the second year. We won the national championship, Division II, my second year, but I got the snot beat out of them in scout teams all the time, which was fine.
Paying those dues, right?
I paid them. But then wound up getting hurt the next year, broke my collarbone, and broke it twice, matter of fact. And then, but halfway through my fourth year and my fifth year, I became the starter, and enjoyed every minute of it.
I bet.
Made a lot of good friends at a different place. Somebody from Paris, Tennessee. I went to Troy. Didn't know a soul down there, and but it was a lot of fun. Met a lot of good people that I still keep in touch with.
Awesome. And then, so after you graduate from Troy, then what? What do you go to next?
Then I went to. I was student teaching at Charles Henderson High School in Troy, and they had a coaching clinic in Dothan, Alabama. And I went with that coaching staff and took a bunch of resumes and passed them out.
Sure.
And met some coaches, and one of them was from Georgia. And he wound up offering me a job, and I taught math and coached football at several different schools in Georgia for the next 20 years.
Okay. So were you just I don't mean to go backwards here a little bit, but were you just a one-sport athlete in high school, or did you play baseball? And
I played baseball for 3 years, and I played basketball for 1, and that was it. And then the rest of it was football.
Okay. So but coaching football in Georgia, how did you end up back at Henry County? Just
I wanted to move back home. And
Okay.
Somehow talked my wife into it, but she loves it here too.
Good.
And it was Coach Counts had been back 1 year, and I wanted to coach with him, and I wanted to move back with my family. And plus, I started, after going to all of the places I'd been in Georgia, which was 5 different places, I started noticing things that where I wanted to finish my career.
Sure.
And I wanted to raise my kid. And the things about Henry County having a one high school was very attractive. There were a lot of good systems that we worked in and lived in Georgia, and I liked them all and met good people there too.
Sure.
at every one of them. But there was just something about I wanted to come back home to Henry County because of the memories I had and the things that I wanted my family to have.
Okay. And so I remember you coached the freshman squad you were the head coach for the freshman squad 1 year, quarterback coach for the varsity. I mean, you've done a little bit of all of it,
When
right?
I first came back in 2011, I coached quarterbacks and did that for 5 years. And then got out of coaching for a couple of years and was just an assistant principal. Then got back into it and was the head 9th grade coach for a couple of years, 3 years, I think,
All right.
3 or 4. And then when Mike retired, I got completely out of the coaching thing.
And so now you just get to be in charge of all of it, right?
I get to be the athletic director. That's right.
How much fun is that?
It's fun. It's enjoyable. Somebody once, my neighbor asked me one time why I do this.
Mm-hmm.
He said, "Why do you want to be the athletic director?" I said, "Well, I never woke up and said I want to be an athletic director." Just like a lot of people don't wake up and say they want to be an assistant principal.
Sure.
But I did getting into coaching. I mean, the reason I wanted to become a teacher is I wanted to coach. It took me about a year to figure out that teaching's coaching and coaching's teaching.
Mm-hmm.
And I started really enjoying teaching math and did that for 28 years. But when the athletic director job came along, I felt like it was the right thing for me. And then my neighbor asked me one time, why do you do this? And I just simply told him I like to help people.
Sure.
And I think that kind of goes back to the way teachers are wired. Teachers naturally like to help people learn things or do. And being an athletic director, I like helping coaches be able to let them coach and me take care of some other things for them, whether it's setting up field, submitting eligibility, checking physicals, whatever it is, so that they can concentrate on coaching. There's still some things they have to do, but that's why I do it.
Okay.
Is like to help people.
Well, we're going to talk some more about that as soon as we come back. We got to take a break, and so going to hear from our sponsors real quick, but going to come back right after these messages and talk some more to Coach Steve Summers and dig into a little bit more of Henry County athletics as a whole and his responsibilities and details and task as athletic director over that department. But we'll be right back. Going to hear from our sponsors back after these messages.
Hey friends, Junior Staggs with Auctioneer University, and I can't tell you how excited I am to be one of the sponsors of a brand new show that's going to be produced by my friends at Brewer Street Mafia and Kell Media. It's called SportsCast with Jeremy Buckelew. It'll be recorded live every Sunday night at 7:30. So if you're into sports, I like Alabama football. Maybe you're a Tennessee fan. Maybe you're into one of those foreign sports like soccer or cricket or rugby. I'm sure he'll cover it all, from local sports to professional sports and everything in between, every Sunday night, 7:30. While you're at it, go over there and give him a like. And if you're thinking about becoming an auctioneer, check out our website, Auctioneer U. That's auctioneer, the letter U.com.
In a world that moves way too fast, there's one place that feels like home. Tater's Place in Paris, Tennessee, where the sizzle of a smash burger meets the sound of laughter, and every plate tells a story. Bring the family, make memories, and taste the love in every bite. Live music, real people, and unforgettable food. That's Tater's Place, 3615 Highway 79 North. Find the flavor you've been missing at Tater's Place. Come and feel what you've been hungry for.
Are you looking for a fence that gives you peace of mind? At All Star Fence Company, we don't just build fences, we build confidence. Whether it's keeping your family safe, protecting your property, or simply adding curb appeal, All Star delivers unmatched quality, dependable service, and lasting results. Locally owned and trusted across West Tennessee, Kentucky, and beyond, we're the name homeowners count on for reliability and strength since 1971. All Star Fence Company, your first line of defense and your best choice for peace of mind. Visit allstarfenceandsupply.com today.
Back here on SportsCast with Jeremy Buckelew, got Coach Steve Summers, now Athletic Director Steve Summers, but Coach Steve Summers here with us. Do want to talk to you about what's coming up this week here from Kill Media in the Brewer Street Mafia Studios. Of course, in 2 weeks, we are off next week. We're on vacation, and so there won't be a show next week. But in 2 weeks, I'll be joined by KD Freeman and Adam Jenkins to talk about their work with the Paris Heat and Henry County Havoc, which are travel basketball squads. Those guys are awesome, and I think Adam and them had a tournament this weekend, and going to hear all about that. And it does so much for Henry County because it gets these kids ready for the high school season and playing together and just development and all that stuff. And so KD Freeman and Adam Jenkins will be on the 13th, not next week, off next week for vacation, but then back on the 13th here from the Brewer Street Mafia Studios at 7:30 to talk about the Paris Heat and Henry County Havoc basketball squads with KD and Adam. You won't want to miss that. It's going to be a great show, I'm sure. Don't forget this week that the Mike Weatherford Show will be on Tuesday night, as it always is, at 7 o'clock. He's got Rick Revel on this week with a 4th of July theme, Red, White, and Revolution, and talking about the voices of 1776, America's first freedom fighters, with special guest Rick Revel. You won't want to miss that show. Again, that's the Mike Weatherford Show on the Mike Weatherford Show Facebook page, Tuesday night at 7 o'clock each and every week. Be sure to like and subscribe to Mike's channel and catch all the things that he has to say over there. And also, don't forget that, again, next week we will be off for vacation. Going to go spend some time with the family on the beach, and then we'll be back on July 13th for SportsCast here from the studio. Got, as I said, Coach Steve Summers here with us from Henry County High School as the athletic director. And Coach, last week and this week were dead period for TSSAA, but does that really, do you slow down any during dead period, or is it just business as usual for you?
Yes.
So you look forward to dead period as much as the athletes and coaches do, I guess, right?
Dead period's a great thing. It gives the players a chance to catch their breath,
Sure.
go do something with their family, and it gives the coaches a chance to refresh their batteries and get ready for the upcoming year. As for me, there's something I've had some days off here and there, and I'm good, but it gives me a time when there's not as much going on, where like next week, this coming week, I'll start putting in eligibility for especially fall sports.
Okay.
Can't do that until July 1, and this year they may back it up till July 15, but I can get a lot of that legwork done this week before, and then I can start asking coaches, hey, is this kid on your team? He needs to do this, blah, 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 and go through that. But that's the big thing, most everybody knows this is dead period.
Sure.
These 2 weeks, most everybody knows. Jeremy doesn't know it, but anyway.
Listen, we always try to. I just got off this week. I don't know why. I thought it was a week later, but I lost track of when dead period started, and so that one's on me for this year.
It's a great time of the summer. It gives you a time to catch your breath and kind of get ready for everything that's coming up.
Yeah. So speaking of we all see you out at Patriot Stadium and Patriot Park during the seasons and stuff, but you're talking about the eligibility. That's your response. What are some other responsibilities that you have kind of behind the scenes that people don't see every day?
Just making sure, eligibility is the big one.
Okay.
And making sure coaches have done their rules clinics, and making sure we're just compliant with TSSAA.
Okay.
And TSSAA helps us out. They give us a thing. This is what you should have done in July, August, September, and October. But you just got to keep up with it. And then about the time fall sports end, basketball is ready to start.
Right.
So you do that eligibility toward the end of right before fall break.
Okay.
Is when we'll do the eligibility for the winter sports and start getting spring sports cranked up too.
Okay. So we were talking off air a second ago. You've got some new coaches coming on, and Henry County Athletics got, I think you said 2 new head coaches, right?
Have 2 new head coaches. Coach Josh Wolf, which has been on the show, and
right.
I think most everybody's heard of Josh and met Josh. If you hadn't, you're in for a treat, and we're very excited about having him here. And the other one is our volleyball coach. Coach Moylan left to move back closer to family in Iowa, and we have hired Coach Marcy Rouse, who teaches at Harrelson. So we're excited about her taking over the volleyball program.
And volleyball that's a fall sport as well, right?
Volleyball is fall.
Okay.
You got football, volleyball, golf, cross country, and girls soccer going on. And cheerleading is also going on in the fall. That goes on in the fall. And in the winter, we have both basketball teams.
Yeah.
And in the spring, we've got baseball, softball, tennis, track, boys soccer.
How long did it take you just to learn that off the top of your head?
About 37 years.
I mean, it's a lot, right? I mean, it's a lot to keep up with. You have all of these different programs that, like, you're coordinating a lot of stuff for them, I'm assuming, and talking to other athletic directors, whether they be in Clarksville or Dixon or Nashville, wherever we've got to go that week. I mean, you've got a lot on your plate week in and week out. So say in a typical week when it's season, so September, like you said, you've got all of those. Let's do later in October when you've got girls soccer reared up and going, you've got football going, you've got all that. What does a typical week for you look like?
I don't know about typical, but anyway, somewhere along typical would. I mean, it's busy. It may be Monday night, Tuesday night, something going on Thursday night and Friday night, and possibly Saturday. But I've got other administrators that can go to events for me. Like what we've done in the past is the Grove principals, the Grove administrators would take care of volleyball because it was played at Grove. And we hadn't talked about how we're going to work that out.
I was going to ask,
year.
is that still going to be the case?
They're still going to play at Grove.
Okay.
And that's a great setting. If you hadn't been to a volleyball game in that setting, you need to go.
Okay.
Because it's a small setting, so it's crowded, and it's just exciting.
Do they usually play on Thursday nights? Is that typically when they will have a game?
Yes, they'll play on Thursday nights, and I think it's Tuesday nights that they'll play also. Yeah, usually Tuesdays and Thursday nights.
So talking about that, I know I'm on your email list because of certain things, but that is a composite schedule that you will send out every week that tells all the different sports, where they are, who we're playing, the start times. We get that email every week from you. Yeah,
and I send it out at the beginning of the year, the whole thing, but then I tell y'all on the email that check it weekly because there's going to be changes.
Sure.
And that's worked out pretty well with that. But yeah, there's usually changes. That's another thing that I try to help the coaches do is communicate that to the media and to whoever else we need to, any changes that we have and the original schedule. So it's, but yeah, there could be a lot going on in one week. And then some weeks, everything's away except maybe one event. And so it's not near as busy. So But that's kind of a typical week, I guess.
Okay. And then, so as far as scheduling, are you responsible for the schedule, or do you kind of defer to the coaches to come up with their schedule and you approve it, or how does that all work?
I defer it to the coaches.
Okay.
I'll let them make their schedule. I'll help them in any way they need me to or want me to. But once they give me a schedule, I'll look over it and make sure we aren't playing on Sunday morning or Christmas morning or something like that. But and that's never happened. But just to make sure we aren't playing on graduation day, we don't have something scheduled on. We try not to schedule anything on prom night and senior banquet night, things like that. And make sure we aren't playing too many things on a Saturday to where we're abusing our gatekeepers too at home, because when we set up a game, there's security, there's gatekeepers, there's people in the press boxes for whichever sport, and that's a burden on them too.
Sure.
And so, not a burden, but it's work on them, which they get paid for. But still, it's just don't want to wear them out.
Right. So as you took over, of course, Mr. Poteet was the athletic director. When I first started really getting involved with Henry County Athletic, did he give you any words of wisdom when he retired?
I think he said good luck. No, Mike's been a huge help. He's he gave me a book that he had done for the previous year. This is what it did, blah blah, and that was helpful. And plus, I can call him anytime I want to have a question, and I do quite often to bounce things off of him about whatever. And he's been a tremendous help.
Good. I just had some questions here.
He's a terrible golfer, but he's been a tremendous help.
Well, we can work on that, I guess, right? Because it's also one of those things that the more you play it, the better you get. Now that he's retired, he should have plenty of time to get a lot better at it.
He is.
So, of course, Henry County's always had great tradition and has always. I don't want to say that the football program has always been what we're known for. I don't necessarily think that's the case, but we do have a good football program and have for years. But there's a lot of other programs that seem to be building some momentum. When you look at, girls softball making it to Murfreesboro back-to-back years, a couple years ago, just came up a game short. Again this year, baseball making it to sub-state, soccer made it to the region finals, basketball making it to sub-state. At the girls, the boys went down to the wire at the region tournament. I mean, we are whatever program we've got going on, it seems to be a lot of momentum going. Is there one area that you look at and say, man, they're growing quickly and we're going to have to do something as far as make some plans for the softball squad or whatever?
I think like you hit all of them. That you hit all of them except track.
Okay.
Tracks. The number of people we have out running for track now is, I don't know how, doubled or tripled in the last 2 years with Coach Winters. Stephanie Winters is the head track coach, and Chris Coleman, who's an assistant football coach, also helps with track.
Right.
And those numbers have increased. I don't know how much they've increased, but they have really jumped. And we don't at this time we don't have any home track meets because we have a 4-lane track.
Right.
But they're talking. We're talking about trying to have a little. I don't know if you call it a jamboree or a play day like some sports have, to where we get one other team to come over and do something at our home track.
Okay.
That would be in the spring, and so that's in the works. And Stephanie and I talked about that about a week ago, and so they're thinking and working on that. So
awesome.
And cross country was the other one that you didn't mention. Cross country is Coach Winters does that as well, and they do a really good job too. We don't have any home meets for them, but we're also talking about, wouldn't be this fall of having a home cross-country meet, but maybe the next fall.
Okay.
So we're trying to do that because I asked Stephanie if we've ever had a home cross-country meet, and she didn't think we had. So that's something that we'd like to do.
So what comes with that planning? Like, what do we need to have a home cross-country
meet?
match?
We would need a lot of volunteers.
Okay.
I mean, seriously, to help, because it depends on where we have it and how complicated the course is.
Sure.
People standing to give directions, people standing at the halfway point giving time to different as they come through, and timers. That would be, and we would need a lot of help and a lot of volunteers to do that.
I'm sure that as soon as we're ready to do that, we won't have an issue.
And that's what I told Stephanie. I said, I guarantee you, it won't be a problem finding people to help us do that.
You talked about, so you've got a box full of trinkets down there that you brought, and we were laughing earlier about the film that you used to watch, and of course we talked about we've come a long way over the years with technology and all that stuff of how sports are viewed. And
a long time ago, this was asked earlier, this is a 16 millimeter film. This is what I watched film on in high school. And we'd sit there and click, 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 click. Y'all have probably heard it before. don't know if you've ever seen it. I have a projector that works on it also. And this was actually a film. I've got several of these films, but this one, I brought this one because to me it was funny. Coach Counts hated Jackson Central Marion. I mean,
that used to be a big rivalry back when you played, right? Was that was that y'all's biggest rival, or was okay?
Yeah, that was huge.
Okay,
but anyway, on here it doesn't say Henry County JCM. It says Henry County versus Jacktown. So but that's what they would have to take this to Murray after the game. Take it to Murray. I think it was Murray. It would get developed. They'd pick it up the next morning and then drive halfway to the next school to swap the film.
Wow.
Now we punch a couple of buttons on Huddle, which is great. I mean, technology has been wonderful. So, and then this is a VHS tape for those of you who don't know what that is. That's a VHS tape. And that's the playoff game. That's our first playoff game when I was a senior versus Franklin. And that was a lot easier. They could copy that at night, didn't have to drive back and forth to Murray, but they still had to drive and swap the film. And then this box.
That is crazy.
This box has cassette tapes in it. This was the replay of all of our senior games on the radio.
All right.
They would replay it the Saturday morning. And I remember going to work at the Paris Vet Clinic and sit there and be working, and I would listen to the replay.
Okay.
And sometimes that was good, sometimes it was bad. Because being a quarterback, you got your name mentioned whether it was good or bad.
Sure.
So, but it was a lot of fun, and my dad recorded all of those. And
so that was on the radio station?
That was the day after. That was on Saturday morning, and it was cool. We all loved to listen to it.
Now that you say that, I remember being not a little kid, but younger. Back when I remember when Torrey Sanders played his senior year, and the cable station would replay the Henry County games on Saturday morning, and so I would get up and go to the football game Friday night, and then get up and rewatch it. And I guess that was my freshman year, so that'd been like 1993, 1994. But rewatch it on a Saturday morning on Channel 3 on the local cable channel.
Yeah, I didn't know that was on there.
Yeah, I remember that now. And you saying the radio replay is what sparked that.
Lon Sosh was the radio announcer.
Okay.
And I remember it was pretty cool to get up and listen to that on Saturday.
I'd love to hear one of those just to take some notes, if nothing else, because I do my best. But
Chris Hudgens in a 3-point stance out wide.
But you're right. I mean, when you think about now, of course, this past season, live streaming the football game, we've gone from watching them on 16 millimeter reels to YouTube and everything else. Of course, you can still listen and watch, but got some updates coming here pretty soon about the live stream. Won't go into it here.
We can.
Well, I mean, it's you're the guest, and I don't want to put you on the spot, but
it's fine.
Okay, well,
it's fine. And I think the last couple of shows, people have talked about the support of Henry County and filling that station, filling those stadiums up, gyms, venues, wherever we are.
Sure.
And the way that we travel on away games. I mean, that is the thing that gives us the community support, and it tells people that we have the community support, and those kids feed off of it and love it. And so we've talked with Forever Communications, and we've been back and forth. When I say we and Dr. Watkins and principals, and we've all talked, and we've decided that we're not going to live stream the games.
Okay.
That we're going to delay them, or we're going to play them the next day.
Okay.
Football will be played on a Saturday. I can't remember the times that it'll be available. I want to say from 10 to 6 or 10 to 4. I can't remember. Basketball will be played the next evening.
Okay.
Like that was the stickum. If it's a Tuesday game, when are we going to replay it? Well, we're going to replay it on Wednesday later in the evening so that people can watch it before a game starts on Friday.
Yeah, sure.
And then the ones that are played on Friday and Saturday be played on the replayed on the weekend.
Okay, still be able to listen live on the radio.
Absolutely.
But as far as the live stream goes,
absolutely. And I want to say that Forever Communications does a fantastic job of broadcasting those games. I mean, it's like an ESPN production. I mean, they do a wonderful
They're
job.
proud of the work they do. I know
yes,
that.
And I mean, they've done great. So thanks to them, that's been a big thing. And the big thing, and I hope everybody, because I know, when we started this live streaming, the number one thing that I liked about it was that our military personnel was going to get to watch it. And I want to thank these military people for, especially here the last couple of weeks, everybody involved. I mean, the job that they do and the service they do, it's phenomenal. And we will have a military appreciation game at one of the football games this year. It may be game one. It may not be. It may be later in the year, but it may be the first game. But when we started this, the military people, for them to be able to watch it, meant a lot to me.
Sure.
It meant a lot to everybody involved with it. And for the grandparents and aunts and uncles and relatives that live too far, if they live in Colorado or Minnesota, being able to watch their kid play football or basketball, that was a big deciding factor. And then the ones that are unable to come to the game, they're sick for whatever reason or whatever ailment, just for whatever reason, they can't come. We love providing that. And we're not taking that away. We're just trying to get that atmosphere back at our venues every night possible, whether it's on the road or whether it's at home, because the kids feed off it. I talked about it as a kid watching it. I talked about it as a kid playing. And anybody that you ask, they love it when there's a huge crowd.
Oh, absolutely.
So,
and we said it last week, too, that there's on a Friday night, there's no better place to be than at the Henry County football games. And we need those crowds that we had 10 years ago. Like I said, where if you weren't at the stadium by 6:30, you didn't have anywhere to sit. You were going to stand and watch those games because it was just so packed. We want to get back to that because the kids deserve it, and it just
that and also one of the other biggest crowds we've had at a basketball game. We played Dixon County 2 years ago. We had chili supper going on. We had Plus Endowment there, and that place was absolutely packed. And so it creates a great atmosphere there as well.
Got some questions coming in from Facebook. First one, I want to talk about crowds and whatnot. How important do you feel the band is at contributing to the football games and sporting events?
Awesome, and that was on my list too, to mention the band. And not only creating that atmosphere for those players, but you create a great atmosphere for the band and for the student section. They love a big crowd too.
Sure.
And but the band has done phenomenal. They do a great job at whatever they do, and getting them moved back down to the end zone by our student section has been great.
I was fortunate and blessed. Right now I'm working with the youth at church, and I've been doing that for some time now, but got to speak to the band because they have a pregame meal before home games. And so our church sponsored one of those pregame meals, and so I went, and I told them that it is a different atmosphere when the band isn't there. I love it when like you said, they're down there playing and
having a good time.
It brings so much to the football game to have the band there. And very appreciative of them and the work that they do. Next question. Of course, we have a healthy at times rivalry with Clarksville. So one of the questions: what is your favorite Clarksville school to go play at?
My favorite Clarksville school, I don't like going to play at any of them, to be honest with you. Well, I like playing at Clarksville High. We hadn't played them in football in a while, but in basketball and baseball and softball, I like going there. It's a good atmosphere.
It is.
You got to go in there, and there ain't but one way to shut them up, and that's to beat them.
I will say, I don't. You may be able to say that. You may not care. I don't know. I'll say this because I don't know if you can. I feel that way about Northeast in football. Like when we go to Northeast, I don't want to win anywhere as bad as I want to win when we go to Northeast because several reasons. Number one, just the rivalry we have. I think it's a good rivalry. Sometimes it gets out of control, but it's for the most part a good, fun rivalry. But like their announcer, I don't know who that guy is, but if there was an award for the guy who can get under your skin the greatest, I think it would be the announcer at Northeast for football games. And so hat tip to him for riling up Henry County, I think, because for mine, I would say Northeast football is my favorite place to go win. But of course, you have, like I said, you have to deal with all these schools all the time, and so you've probably established kind of a healthy relationship with them.
I've talked to the AD at Northwest last week.
Yeah,
we may be moving a football game from the 10th to the 9th because it's right before fall break.
Okay,
so we're working on that. I talked several times with the AD at Clarksville and at Rossview. And all of them.
Sure.
And yeah, we work well together, and we all know. I mean, don't get them wrong. They want to come whip us too. So,
absolutely.
And whatever it is too. So they, but it's good, and we've also got the game back with Dixon County in football this year, and and we got real lucky with them playing here. Because it was originally scheduled to play at their place, but they're getting turf.
Oh, nice!
And they hadn't started on it at the end of basketball season, so I asked their AD, what the deal was, and he said, "Well, I don't know where we're going to play y'all when y'all come up here." And we kind of talked, and we decided, we talked about moving it this year here and next year there. So that luckily gave us 5 home games and 5 away.
I was going to say that
instead of 6 and 4 because it was bad.
Because, I mean, you talk about that football season. I know the guys from the quarterback club kind of talked about it last week. But we're kind of heavy on the front end with travel, and not little trips right up the road.
No.
I mean, we're talking 3 trips, or a trip to Giles County, 2 trips to Nashville, essentially.
Yeah.
That puts a strain on some resources, and
it does. But we'll get it figured out.
Okay. You had some notes. There's some other stuff going on with Henry County. You mentioned Hope Tusa this week. Got some kind of
Hope Tusa was one of our girl soccer players, and she was selected to be on the TSSAA Student Advisory Committee, which is a first year they've ever done that. And what it is, it's just a group of students. I forget how many they chose, but there were a whole bunch of applicants. Coach Beard nominated her. She filled out the paperwork, and then she got selected.
Nice.
And so we're real proud of that. And she'll just be involved. She'll just kind of be a student voice. I forget how many are on it. I want to say 16, maybe 12 or 16 student athletes. But she'll just be able to have a voice and issues that come up and see how things work with our sports association.
Okay, nice.
Yeah.
And then I've had some guys or some athletes here and there signed recently to play at the next level.
Yes.
And
this year we had 5 from baseball signed to go play college baseball next year. Chase Cameron, Jamerson McLean, Logan Davidson, Peyton Littleton, and Jack Todd will all go and play baseball next year in college. Softball, I'm 99% sure Lane Latimer is going to sign with Murray State.
Yep.
We hadn't gotten that officially done yet, but Coach Laster, I talked to her the other day, and we're going to get that done just as quick as we get some things in.
Nice.
Boys soccer had 2 young men, Jacob Davis and Gavin Evans, that are going to go play at Union and Kentucky Christian. And we had 2 cheerleaders that are going to go cheer in college. Kenna Dyke at UTM, and Carly Olive is going to Mississippi State Community College.
Nice.
So, yep, that was very good. And we also had 3 student athletes that decided to join the military. And I think that's pretty honorable and pretty cool.
I tell you one thing I like that we've started doing is we've had 2 ceremonies at the halftime or before a sporting event. I think we had one in a soccer game where we had a swearing-in ceremony, and then at was it
football?
Right. You're right. So we've had 3 because we had one in football, and then we had one in basketball also when the young lady signed with the Army during basketball season. And so and just a really cool.
It really is. And Sergeant Herron, the recruiting coordinator here in Paris, reached out one time wanting to do that.
Yeah.
And we kind of talked about it. I said, sure. And then we did it at a football game. We did it at a soccer game. And then when we did it in the basketball gym, to me that was the best setting because everything got quiet. And you could hear there wasn't a bunch of runners, and man, it was really something special.
Yeah, and not only special for those who were involved in it, but I think that everybody who witnessed that will remember that for as long as,
and we plan to continue that just as often as we can.
That's awesome. I'm glad to hear that. And so you talked about all these kids, and I mean, that's really just a testament to the Henry County Athletics Department, coaches, people involved with it, that number one, the recognition that comes with it, because I mean, a lot of these kids, as they're playing, they play travel ball and do all this other stuff, but these signing windows are really brought to the forefront a lot of times during their season in high school. And I know you schedule and have signing ceremonies there at the high school that the kids get to watch, and people. I've went to one to watch a young man sign to play football, and so.
It's also a testament to that kid and their family too, because there's a lot of sacrifice that they put in to get to that point.
Absolutely.
So it's definitely a group effort on the coaches and their teammates and their families and everybody. It's really a special honor to get to go do that, to have that opportunity.
Yeah. In
this day and age, high school recruiting is. I don't want to get a lot into that, but it's gotten out of whack with all the NIL and transfer stuff that goes on in colleges now. The transfer portal has really hurt a lot of high school recruiting. But I'm really proud of these young men and women that are going off to represent us.
Absolutely, and we'll talk about it the next time you're on. But TSSAA just approved a one-time transfer for high school kids, and so I know that there's a lot of concern right now, especially some of these smaller high schools that may do away with their athletics to some degree, because if a kid can travel down the road and play 5A football at Henry County on a very successful team and be seen, probably will take advantage of that transfer rule. And anyway,
they certainly could. We are not recruiting in any shape, form, or fashion.
Absolutely not. No. That's not what I was saying.
Right.
But it is something
that came in light of House Bill 25 that was trying to get signed to make it into a law for them to be able to transfer one time without moving.
Right.
And so that law has kind of gotten squashed until February.
Okay.
But TSSAA went ahead and made that change in our transfer rules and regulations that if it's not for athletic purposes, they can transfer one time without moving.
Sure.
Used to, they would have to have a bona fide change of address. But starting this fall, starting July 1, they can transfer one time without moving. So, I don't know how much it's going to affect us. It may help us some, may hurt us some.
Sure.
The big concern to me would be in the metro schools where there's 5 or 6 high schools within 5 or 6 miles of each other. So, but I'm sure we'll see some come and go.
How often do you communicate with the TSSAA? Is it weekly, monthly?
No, well, I mean, I get updates from them weekly.
Okay.
They have a frequently Friday ask question that they send out, which is usually pretty informative and, helpful.
Sure.
But when I need to, if I have a question about something, I'm not sure about something, or something's kind of a little different, I'll just call them and talk to them. But I'm going July 8th to Siegel High School to an AD meeting where they're going to talk a lot about the transfer rule and how to handle that on our end. So we'll have more information after that.
All right. Well, Coach, I told you that hour goes quick.
I know. I hadn't talked this long in a long time. I mean,
last thing on that, what's your favorite thing about being an AD? Is it because I debate on whether or not to bring this up, but me and Case got to have a meeting with you a couple years ago. Is it those kind of instances, or what's your favorite thing about
favorite one right there?
An AD?
My favorite thing is just being able to help pull off a successful event, whether it's a football game, a basketball game, whatever, baseball, just being able to help and see us be successful, whether players, coaches, everybody. So, and that, because when we're successful, it makes the community look good, and we represent the community in the right way, and that's what I like about being it.
Awesome. Well, Coach, actually, personally, I want to thank you for all the work you do, because I know that with the radio crew and some of the other responsibilities that come along with that, and just you're always extremely helpful to me, and when I'm out at the ballparks and making sure that I've got what I need, and so I appreciate it. And I know it's not a hard.
Didn't I give you an umbrella one night?
You did give me an umbrella one night because I was sitting out in the rain calling a baseball game, which is why this year I moved up into the press box for baseball even. But I do appreciate it very much. I know it's not a it's
My
not
pleasure.
a easy job, but you're doing a great job at it, and we appreciate you.
Well, thank you. Thanks for having me on.
Anytime, I go ahead and plan on. I tell everybody this, but I'm serious. Plan on coming back, and we'll get an update on what all's going on Henry County athletics wise, and you can just be a regular to keep us all in the loop for
anytime
Patriot athletics.
Go Big Red.
We appreciate you very much. Thank you for joining us this week. Do want to remind you, no show next week, but we'll be back on the 13th with KD Freeman and Adam Jenkins talking about travel basketball, the Paris Heat, and the Henry County Havoc, and the work and coaching that they're doing with those kids, and just the overall development of it. It's going to be a great show. And then don't forget Tuesday night, Mike Weatherford show with Rick Revel, Red, White, and Revolution. You don't want to miss that as well. Want to say thank you to Kevin Keel in the back and Scott Norwood for bringing you all the action here tonight. Thanks for Mike Weatherford letting us use the studios here at Brewer Street Mafia Studios and Keel Media. Tune in 2 weeks for more SportsCast with Jeremy Buckelew. Again, thanks to Coach Steve Summers for coming on tonight, talking Henry County athletics with us. We will see you in 2 weeks. Until then, as always, take care of yourself and each other. Y'all have a good night. We'll see you in 2 weeks.